Welcome in to the OKS Youth Ministry Podcast, where three of the OKS Youth Ministries talk about youth ministry. I'm Michael Deese, and I am joined by Jeremy Crow and Hunter Puckett. And I just want to say that we're sorry that we skipped out on y'all last week.
Mm-hmm. It was my fault. I had a beach vacation. Yeah. I try my best not to take vacations during the summer because I still have young kids, and I was gone.
Yeah.
It's on me.
We couldn't do it. You know, it just
No,
wasn't going to work.
not without Hunter. He holds this thing together.
That's right. He's the glue that holds us together.
I definitely would not go that far.
Yeah.
So real quick, I want to give a shout out while we're kind of figuring out what we're talking about today. I do want to give a kind of a shout out.
Yeah. Did anybody have their notes up and ready? No. Am I signed into the wrong Google account? I am. Can't even get to the document.
It's not even on the doc of what we're supposed to talk about. Anyways, while Jeremy's putting down what we're talking about today,
Michael's such a jerk.
I do want to mention that fantasy football is coming up.
Yes.
And you might have a league with some people in your church, your youth group.
Who's your number one overall? Who is it?
Shadur Sanders.
Yeah, that's what it should be. It should be.
I am picking him last, and I told my league. I told them that I'm ready to pay U.S. currency for Shadur. If somebody picks him.
Jeremy's going to talk about how he's going to pick Dan Marino.
No, I was actually thinking Michael
Vick
or Brett Favre.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be.
I hear Tom Brady's a pretty good pick this year.
Hey, in one of the fantasy football drafts that I was in last night, somebody picked Adrian Peterson. He's been out of the league like 4 years.
I mean, I think if you have first overall pick, I think it'd be silly not to choose Jamar Chase.
Yeah, I agree.
Who's that?
He's a football player.
Yeah,
that's what I would guess. But
you know what team?
No, I didn't.
Go ahead and just guess.
Hey, go
ahead and guess.
Do you want to do a
skit?
test of NFL players that I don't know the name of?
No, I want to do a test of. Do you watch college football?
Yeah, but like,
how long have you been watching college football?
Let me put it this way. Okay, I'm not a social drinker, but I am a social watcher. With college football, I don't drink at all.
That was going.
I will say that if I don't have a party to get like together with people and we're gonna have party food and we're gonna hang out, I will not watch the football game. Like I don't care if it's Alabama, if it's Auburn, if it's Georgia, I don't care. If I'm not together with a party and there's not some cheese dip and there's some sausage balls, I got other stuff to do. Not that big a deal to me. I'm gonna go work in the wood shop. I'm gonna go play with the kids. I don't care. But man, if there's a party and there's food, I am all in. I'm the biggest fan you've seen. I love it.
I respect that, though.
I don't.
I'm a party watcher.
I'm just kidding.
Well, I try and do a lot of hunting during football season, so usually I'll have it quiet on my phone, or no noise coming out of the phone, but just watching it on my phone.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, Jeremy, so football.
Yeah, it's a sport.
Yeah. What would you say is your favorite sport to watch?
Tennis.
Okay,
really?
I agree. Tennis is a lot of fun.
I really love watching, and I also really like volleyball. Like when I have a kid in the youth group. Okay, let's okay. Segue sideways thing we're doing here. What is your least favorite thing? And you're gonna get in trouble when a kid says, "Hey, will you come watch my game?" What's the sport you're like, ugh, when you know they play it?
We don't have it around here, but we had it. Because you're going to want something like actually
girls junior high basketball.
Oh, good start.
Tennis.
Really?
And it stinks. Over
half of his youth group plays tennis.
I know, but the reason, and I don't hate going to the games. Obviously, I enjoy them.
You hate
I don't know what's happening.
Here's the real thing. This is my
Gosh,
my question.
I love tennis.
And the Hartsville tennis coach is just not good.
Yeah.
What makes a basketball game fun? What makes a basketball game fun?
The concession stand.
Speed.
Okay, speed.
No,
good. That's
no.
Dunks.
Slam dunks.
Okay, dunks.
100%.
Okay.
If the team is not going to dunk, I'm not going to the game.
Okay. Let's keep going.
Let's be honest. Rough play in the paint, fouls,
sure,
aggressive,
yeah.
Somebody's getting fouled.
Right.
It's awesome.
Would you say
missed shots?
What I'm hearing is that the offensive side of basketball is what's fun.
Yeah.
The defensive side, sure, whatever. We don't really care so much about that.
Well, watch the All-Star
unless
game.
it's a team that really puts
every
the
now
heat.
and then they'll really have they'll be, but
Holly Pond
don't
from like
watch.
8 years ago was a lot of fun to watch on defense.
So the reason I'm asking all these questions is because girls basketball, the score at the end of the game, like middle
7-4?
is like, it's like 6-4. And I'm like, hey, I've just watched this game
That's actually
for an
true.
hour and a half.
Yep.
And there has been 8 points scored
Yep.
in the entire game.
Stellar defense.
And that is not fun. And the defense isn't because they're getting after it. It's because they just can't do it.
It's just a bunch of
They
Angel
just-
Reese's
well,
out there.
They just can't do it.
What about this? Let me ask you this. I haven't had a kid go through this yet, but there's a new sport happening. Women's flag football.
Yeah.
Have y'all gotten to go watch that?
I have not, but I bet it's fun.
I would love to go watch it. I don't have
I
a
would
kid
like
that
to
plays
go
it,
watch
but-
that to recruit some kids in my youth group to play in the youth group flag football tournament.
Yeah.
Because I can never get girls.
Wait, you talking about the North Alabama flag football tournament?
Yep, happening on November 22nd, I think.
I will never
That
be
sounds
able
right.
to go to that.
I think that's right.
I hope. I want to.
Hey,
I
if you're
just-
if you're close to the North Alabama area and you'd like to bring your youth group over to play some flag football in Coleman on a Saturday all day, sign up.
Confirmed.
Yeah,
November 22nd.
all right,
that's awesome.
So,
Okay.
what are we talking about
Least
today?
least favorite
Oh.
least favorite sport. You said tennis.
Yeah,
Is your
it's-
least favorite sport to watch
yeah.
because you don't understand.
Yeah, I just don't understand it.
Yours is girls basketball. Any level or just middle school girls?
I'd say
We lost Michael. A text message came in.
fantasy football.
So was it fantasy football? Be honest with me.
We had our fantasy football draft, and we got on a boat, and one of my best friends
A boat?
can't do boats, apparently. Nathan Powell cannot ride on a
Nathan.
boat.
I
like
and he was
that.
getting so sick.
But that
and he was
doesn't-
just like, I don't know if we should be doing this. And I was like, dude, we're just,
Yes,
we're
we
just
should
going on
because
those.
of how you're
Like, we're
reacting
just-
right
And
now.
so somebody just sent a thing. Freed Hardeman just sent out a thing that you can go
On a free
with
boat ride?
Seeing His World Travel, and it offers a biblical seminar at sea.
Ooh.
Wow.
And Nathan was there. Everybody was like, Nathan, you can go. This is a 10-day cruise at
Things
sea.
I'll never pay for
And Nathan
500,
was like,
Alex.
no way. I would never in a million years.
But that also doesn't surprise me that he's the one that struggled with that.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
He's awesome.
I
Shout
love
out
Freed
to him.
Hardeman, but there ain't no way I'm doing that. Like, okay.
Dude, I'd be all about it. All inclusive. I mean, come on.
yeah. Okay,
How many credit hours?
About six.
so
6, 7.
6, 7.
6, 7. 6,
So,
7.
so I hate watching swim meets and track meets, and here's why.
Because you hate the kids that do 'em.
Yes, it's because I hate those kids. No, it's because it is so exciting for like 35 seconds, and then you wait for another hour until their next event. And usually, that waiting for that hour, you're sitting in a humid pool area just sweating, or you're sitting out in the blazing heat sun at a track meet just sweating.
Or freezing cold.
Yeah, or freezing. Well, rarely. Now, soccer's got some cold matches.
Dude, soccer's so fun to watch.
I enjoy soccer. I'm watching soccer. It's
As
fun.
someone who just complained about the lack of scoring, you just said soccer's fun to watch.
That's not what makes soccer fun.
What makes soccer fun.
the red cards.
No.
That is it.
No.
That's it.
When you watch soccer
red
properly,
card.
soccer is just one big game of keep away. And people making people look foolish playing keep away with goals.
I can get into that.
And so that's the whole game of soccer. It's like you just get to watch people play keep away from the other team. That's the whole
You
thing.
must not have been at the JV Hartsel Coleman game last year.
I was not.
2 red cards, parents screaming at each other, parents screaming at the kids.
The Coleman
I hate I missed
Hartsel
that. It was
rivalry
great.
is nasty.
It
And I
was
love
great.
it. I'm here for it.
And I was
It's-
just trying to leave to go to another soccer game at Burr.
BRRRRRR.
Burr.
If you go to Burr, you know what I'm talking about. It is not as nasty as the Tullahoma
Hey.
Coffee County rivalry, but it is a pretty nasty
I
rivalry.
do. I have a kid that goes to Brewer here. That goes to my youth group. And I asked him, so where do you go to school when I first met him? And he said, Brewer.
Brewer.
That's how I pronounced it when I first got here.
Brewer. And I was like, where? And he said, Brewer. And I said, oh, Burr. And he goes, yeah.
So,
What are we talking about
Dude,
today?
I
don't
got
even
it.
know.
I got
I
it.
don't know
Here
what
it
you're
is.
talking about.
It's in the Google Doc. I've updated.
Oh, well, I'm gonna,
Whilst we
let
chattered,
me
I
do that
updated.
real quick. I'll get on the Google Doc.
Go get on there. I will say this. Here's what we're gonna get into today. It is that magical time of year. There's a crisp fall feel to the air this morning. Now it's probably gonna be gone in like an hour. But
Wait, hold on. Did you know it's supposed to get down to like 58 degrees?
I
this
know,
week?
man. I'm fired up
Yeah.
about that. So it was a little cool this morning. It was nice. occasionally we're going to see a leaf fall not too far from now. And that means it's also that time of year when your eldership's going to start saying, hey, we need your budget submission.
Oh, yep.
It's time. Now, we spent last, I guess, October or November, we did an episode about budgeting. We did a really big, broad, sweeping episode about budgeting. We're going to take the next few episodes to kind of deeply dive into what budgeting looks like in youth ministry, why it matters, what kind of things are important with that. Some things that we will discuss in that is why your budget actually matters, why it's an important thing. Then we're going to talk about maybe some of the basic categories that every youth budget needs to deal with. The other thing is going to be prioritizing which things matter most in your budget, which things matter least, and also being creative in kind of your relationships and partnerships with others that might support that budget or help supplement it in some way. And then also one of the ones that I think is interesting to think about is the communication or defending of our budget. Like, people to understand why we did what we did and make it make sense to your eldership, to your deacons, to your parents. And the last thing and that we're going to dig into is when we evaluate last year's budget, throughout the year, right?
Yeah.
It's not something that we just wait until September, to really think about. It's something that you have to be constantly updating and evaluating and figuring out, what happened and does it need an adaptation during the year? How do you go about that? And so we're going to dig into some of those type things. But first, let me start by kicking us into this with asking you, have you done any budget planning yet for next year already?
Are you ready
yet?
for this? Are you ready for this?
Let's hear it.
I've already got my budget done.
Did you double it?
It's ready for me to just...
Man, what a man.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the best.
I finished mine at the end of the summer because we do our big youth group kickoffs, all three of us do, and part of that is me presenting all of our big events for all the parents. Like while I was doing that, I just went ahead and did the rest of the budget as well.
Yep.
That's it. That's exactly right.
So as we all kind of did an open house event earlier this month, and that's right. I may not have every single detail figured out exactly, but I know the major things that are going to happen that are going to be key factors financially for families. And I tried to communicate that to them, at that meeting to say, hey, it's going to cost you $40 for this event. It's going to be $75 for this event, $110 for this, whatever. I want them to know so that they can kind of plan out their own family budget to work around that. I think that a big part of budgeting and planning is communicating dates and expenses as early as you can get them out there so people can plan family vacations, they can plan what they need to save, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. If I asked you what your budget says about your youth ministry, what would your answer be?
Because
it kind of gives some indication about your ministry, about what you're about.
I told this to my parents. If I had to describe it, I would say it's purpose driven.
Yeah.
We have a lot of events that we do throughout the year, between retreats, between, all the 3-letter events we do, everything that's in between, Maywood. And I tell the parents, there's nothing that's on this list that's chosen at random.
Correct.
There's nothing that's on this list that I have thrown a dart at a dartboard and had, hey, well, this is what we're doing this year. Like everything is on this list for a reason. Now, all the reasons are going to be very different. Yeah. I think the reason that we make sure that we take our kids to Maywood is very different than, taking them to the fall retreat or taking them to Exposure or CYC or I know y'all go to Winterfest, things along those lines. But for me, the easiest way to put that is I take CYC and Exposure Youth Camp. And if I view both of those, one's in Pigeon Forge, the other one's in Huntsville. So 30 minutes away versus like 6 hours. But each of them are for a very different reason. Exposure Youth Camp for me is where my kids can grow spiritually kind of on their own. Yeah. And they can go to the classes, they can choose their classes, they can meet new people. But then my vision and my reasoning for CYC is, well, the youth group gets to grow closer together because they're on a bus for 6 hours. Yeah. And they're riding together. So it's different purposes, but understanding that everything does have a purpose.
So something with that, and Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, but y'all made a choice last year budget-wise where you were trying to get what he just said out of CYC, but without the expense of CYC that you had in the past. And so you made a budget choice or a change because of, trying to reach that vision or that goal more intentionally than you had been previously.
Yeah. And that's kind of what Hunter said, having a purpose driven. Everything that we do is on purpose, but the events and things, I'm kind of like looking through, what do these all have in common? And it offers community and service. That's kind of what I'm seeing with my budget is, I have a general fund, and the majority of the general fund is like paying for kids if they can afford something. Yeah. And then on top of that is doing service projects of some sort. And so, and then the rest is going on camps and trips and things. And so basically I'm just looking at what I've got, and I'm seeing we've got community, kids going into stuff, building relationships and that, and then service. And so I like to do community service.
Yeah. I think, yeah. And one of the things that I have in mind is support of volunteers, or trying to figure out. So that's something that when you read my budget, you're going to see multiple things about, gifts for chaperones, intern, honorarium kind of thing, like things that.
Well, my adults know that on every trip that they go on, they go for free.
Yeah.
Every adult goes for free. I
think that's a good goal to have in general with youth ministry, because you're really calling for them to be workers, on it. Okay, so let's start by doing this. We talked about what kind of things that your budget communicates about your ministry. I think that one thing that we could think about is, I know not necessarily a mission statement or a vision statement, but that our budget is something that gives ministry philosophy, right? It helps others know, helps your parents know, helps your leadership know what you want to be priority in your ministry.
I think I think that's a great way to look at it, but it's the foundation of that philosophy. You have to have the money in order to make that happen.
Yeah.
In order to make that work. The vision of being a very service project driven youth group is going to cost money. The vision of being a very mission oriented youth group is going to cost money. So this is kind of laying the foundation for what your youth group is going to look like over the year.
Yeah. And we've all had, like, why does your budget look the way that it does now? How different does your budget look than when you first started?
Oh yeah, way different.
And why? And what was it that fueled those changes? I had a lot more of, like, when I first started, I was more focused on having fun, doing Six Flags, going to Disney World, any of that kind of stuff that we could do. That's what I was all about.
Disney World. I want to be in your youth group.
We would go to Disney World every year after our mission trip.
All right, if we have any Flint kids listening, no.
Yeah. Never will that happen.
And so
that sounds fun, but no.
That was something that we did every year. We went to Disney World for one day, and but at any rate, that was kind of the focus, was like doing fun stuff. And as I learned more and got more experience, I changed things up. I swapped things around, did things differently.
The Crows are headed to Disney World at the end of September, so if you'll go to GoFundMe.com.
/ Crow Family Vacation.
Crow Family no, but like, it also, this vision or this philosophy of what you're trying to do and how you frame your budget, it's also impacted by what your group needs at that time, right? So when I started out at Hebron, like 20 years ago, at that time, they weren't prepared for a very missional budget because they weren't in that place. But we did a lot of fun things, like what you're saying. Now, they weren't trips to Disney World, but they were like fun activities and trips and hosting things at people's homes.
You're not doing it right.
And so we would try to. It worked because it got you in church. But we tried to plan things that worked or were needed for that ministry. And you and I, we all know that changes from year to year too, right? Like the group that you have right now as seniors, when they graduate, and the group that's coming in as sixth graders right now, they may be totally different personalities, and they have different needs spiritually, and we have to address and adjust our budget based on what the group that we currently have will need the next year.
Yeah.
It's kind of like youth ministry is a progression. One year, we do this. The next year, we might not need it that way. So it might be the budget. It might be your philosophy of youth ministry. I feel like every single year, your philosophy of youth ministry should change in some way. Right. It doesn't have to be a big way. It doesn't have to be you completely revamping the youth ministry. But in some way, that philosophy of youth ministry needs to change to fit the students. Yep. Not every year are your students, like what we said, not every year are they exactly the same.
Yeah.
there's going to be a little bit of change. So make sure that the budget's changing, make sure that the philosophy is changing, make sure kind of what you're doing is changing. When I first got to Flint, it was a very, very sports heavy youth group. I mean, that's all they did was they wanted to play sports.
Yeah.
And then, we kind of went through this lull of, we didn't do as many sports, so we had to change it. Not as many people wanted to go do Six Flags or go do these things, so we changed it a little bit. And now we're kind of getting back into that scene of, now we're wanting a little bit more sports. I guess just volleyball nights or going to Six Flags or we had a lot more people go whitewater rafting, things on those lines.
Yeah.
So it just kind of changes every year. So I still try and have fun in it. The fun events to get the kids that are on the fringe, we'll say, into the door and get them excited. But at the same time, it's kind of like Michael. It's very mission oriented, very service project oriented, stuff like that.
So like Hunter said a second ago, this kind of vision moment, it's your Luke 14 conversation, right? Luke 14:28. For which of you wanting to build a tower doesn't first sit down and calculate the cost to see if they have enough to complete it? Otherwise, after he's laid the foundation, he can't finish it, and all the onlookers would ridicule him, saying, "This man started to build but wasn't able to complete."
Yeah.
We sit down and we evaluate what do we need in our ministry, what can we accomplish, and what's it going to take to do that. One of the other things with this is having your eldership, your leadership, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in depth about how you conversate those with those in conversate. Is that right?
Sure.
How you communicate those things with your
Sounding
leaders. But having them buy into the vision of what you're trying to do in ministry. One of the things that right now Coleman has been doing very well in the last few years, or at least in my opinion, it's very well, is they've really poured a focus into youth ministry and children's ministry, not just in time and effort, but also financially. They've begun to say to people like, this is where we're going to place resources. We had 2 new families place membership this week, and they said that to them in the Wednesday night meeting with them. They said, hey, one of the things that we've counted as priority here is youth and children's ministry, and you're going to see us pour a lot of money and effort into it. And I will say when they made that shift, my youth budget more than doubled that 1 year because they said, we're going to invest in this thing.
Yeah.
So having them frame the budget and see that vision of where you're trying to go with ministry is a big deal.
I know when we started doing our budgeting and everything, we have we have had way more participation in our events this year and last year than I think we've ever had. We've just been
You blew your budget because of good participation.
Right. Our numbers have gotten, and it's not even that I did a poor job budgeting.
No.
Because I did budget. I doubled the number that we had last year
That's right.
for one of the events.
That's a great problem.
And we had not double, but we had like 5 times the amount of people that went this year than the year previously. And so that's a whole thing that you have to consider when you're making these budgets. And I think if I had done a better job of using the year to understand and see the vision of where our group was going to go, I could have probably budgeted better. And so I think maybe not looking at it in the last minute and trying to get it put in before the deadline, but instead having it working and going and growing and moving and stuff as the year is going on and updating it and that kind of thing. Sorry, Hunter. I meant to interrupt you. What were you saying?
No. Well, it's remembering that you are a youth minister and it is a youth group. It's very easy for us to get caught up in all the games and all the fun activities and take away from the service projects or the mission mindedness of the youth group itself. And I just want to, you think of it and you have one budget that's very heavy on sports, heavy on going to Disney for some reason, heavy on Six Flags, heavy on all these other things. And then you have another budget that's very balanced between trips. It's teaching resources, service projects, what Jeremy said of kind of giving a present or giving a gift to some chaperones, making sure that they know that they're needed and they're appreciated. But really with that too comes a lot of wrong things we do with the budget, and also realizing that sometimes it's going to take experience. It's going to take making mistakes. It's going to take not really knowing fully what you're doing.
Yeah.
So Jeremy, what do you think are maybe some mistakes maybe or things that we do wrong when budgeting?
I'll tell you something that I've done in the past is before I had a better grasp of what we were doing at Coleman or what we were accomplishing and what needed to be done, just fluffing my budget with extra expense, because I just didn't want to have to worry. Taking an event that we budgeted $1,500 for last year and putting it at $2,500, right? Well, if I can justify the extra $1,000, maybe like Michael said, I've got twice the amount of kids that I thought I would have going or whatever. It makes sense, but just padding it without any kind of intentionality or purpose is really a poor thing. Also, cutting things without a reason for why I cut them is also part of that. I would say a resounding message that we repeatedly say from this table on the podcast is intentionality in ministry. Doing things with purpose and with reason behind why we did it, what we're doing going forward. I think cutting and padding without any kind of intentionality is a downfall in budgeting.
Yeah, I think that can cause some problems if you're just.
It looks like you don't know what you're doing.
Right. Yeah.
And clear communication within it as well. So let me ask you this: what are some hidden costs that y'all often forget about?
I don't factor in my volunteer
Yes.
things because I said they go free, right?
Yeah.
My volunteers go free. I don't count that in beforehand, and then once I'm about to do it, I'm like, I forgot to even.
Yep.
And so I have to kind of add a little bit into there and finish it out before I go. But that's just something that I always forget. Everything else, I mean, I don't ever forget anything. I'm
That's perfect.
considering everything.
You're perfect. I get it. Now, how about this? This is something that when I was in Tullahoma at Cedar Lane, I would forget often. It's not an issue at Coleman because it doesn't fall under the youth. We call it buckets, the youth ministry bucket of the budget. And then I have many buckets under youth ministry. Transportation was in Tullahoma under youth ministry.
Oh.
It's not at Coleman.
No.
So however much gas we spend in the bus never matters, on a trip.
For your budget.
For my youth budget. It matters in the grand budget overall, sure, but I don't have to keep up with, or van, repair costs, tires on the bus. That kind of stuff doesn't fall. It comes under van maintenance and repair or something like that.
But it's also on you to help them out too, turning in your receipts so they know how much, going to Winterfest costs.
Yes. So we had a deacon in Tullahoma that would ask me, this was my first real experience of serious budgeting. I never really had to do that at Hebron because it was a small little country church that just didn't do that kind of stuff very specifically. I had a budget that I worked with them, but it was a lot more parent driven, parents funding things. When I got to Tullahoma, I had a pretty good sizable budget. And one of our deacons who managed our bus ministry and our transportation and all, he came to me. He's like, "Hey, I need your budget, your trips and stuff for next year." And I was like, "The whole year?" He's like, "Yeah, I need January to December." I was like, "Okay." I need it by the end of October. And I was like, "Okay." And so, but what was crazy, I think I've told y'all before, we would have the best maintained, most, taken care of in good conditions vehicles on every trip we would go on. We'd go to Uplift and our tires literally would be shining. He'd do the tire black on, he would vacuum the carpet before every big youth trip. He knew how many miles not were on the set of tires. He knew how many miles were on the windshield wipers that had been replaced. Like he knew how many miles on that oil change, how many miles since the transmission fluid was, transferred, all of these things. And so it blew my mind, but having someone that did that kind of stuff made me have to go, oh, I've got to know how many miles it is to get to Gatlinburg and how many miles approximately we're going to drive around Gatlinburg during the weekend to give him an estimated budget number. Because it would mess up his budget if I didn't have those numbers, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's underestimating or forgetting about hidden things like transportation absolutely can happen.
Yeah.
Do you do a supplies or miscellaneous expenses in your budget somewhere?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I have, I've got my budget. Let me pull it up real quick.
Do you find yourself...
I have a $500 miscellaneous.
Yeah. So do you find yourself just putting one big miscellaneous bucket, or do you say under this heading of your budget, there's going to be a miscellaneous, expenses with that, and then under this one, there's going to be miscellaneous, or is it just a broad sweep?
I have a general fund, and it has a X amount of money, and then I have a youth minister miscellaneous. Yeah. That's $500, and I never reach my budget on that one because it's always just like an extra. Like if there's a book that comes out that I want to get, then I use it to buy that, or any of that kind of stuff. That just random things that come up. I use from that youth minister miscellaneous budget. Yeah. It's like my discretionary fund.
Okay, honest moment here. have you ever just copied last year's budget and just resubmitted that?
Oh yeah,
Why?
absolutely.
Because it's easy.
Yeah, why wouldn't I?
Yeah. I'd say my first year probably.
Yeah.
And then I realized that wasn't the best way to approach
No.
that.
I probably did that until like year 5 or 6.
You're just like, just give me what we had last year.
Yeah, just whatever.
Yeah.
I'll make it work.
Well,
Yeah.
like not expecting your youth group to grow,
Yeah.
things on those lines. But then like you also have the
You're making an intentional
Yeah.
choice there.
But then you also have like the accidents of, you plan for 10 more people to go to the X event,
Yep.
like Michael's group with Uplift. You plan for, 10 more people to go to Uplift next year because you only brought, a small amount. And it's like the year after that, it quadruples.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, well, I did not budget enough for this.
Yeah.
And most elderships, if you go to them and explain that to them, they're going to be more than happy to give you more money.
Right.
I've yet to meet an eldership or hear of a situation where they have been upset because you have brought more people than you thought you would.
Yep.
I mean, our group is getting
Unless
larger.
you're doing it every time and
Yeah.
you sound like an idiot.
Like we just graduated 2 people.
Yeah.
From our youth ministry, we graduated 2. We got 11.
Yeah.
That's a
And so-
huge budget change.
Yes. Yeah.
Even just on groceries for devotional.
I mean,
on
we
Sunday
literally,
nights.
I just did our rush and I had a house rented. I called Hunter and was like,
Yeah.
hey, I need to know what you're doing with yours. And he was like, here's what we're doing. This is some, and I had to get a whole other Airbnb in
Yep.
order for us to do rush. And we're probably still going to be on air mattresses.
Same.
My expectation was
Well, that's the fun
last
part
year,
of it too, though.
Yeah, yeah. Last year we had, I think, 15 or 18 total. This year we have 36 already.
That's double. That's awesome.
36 already signed up. And
Yep.
so that includes parents and kids and everybody. But still, like last year we had, I think, 14. So 14 to 18, somewhere in that range. But
So let's talk about this. Your budget is a way in which you communicate, your ministry. It communicates what things you have available. It communicates to parents what you're going to pursue, what resources are accessible to them, and how much parents can learn about how you think about certain things in your budget because of seeing your budget. Now, let me ask you this: Do you ever have parents who ask to see or want to know how budget planning is done? Do you ever have any interest in that?
no, I've never had anybody ask me about that.
They don't care.
They don't care.
They just care that. Well, I'll tell you this: when I first got to Flint, and of course I worked the 3 summers internship, but when I first started full time, I told the elders with the budget, I said, I want to make every trip as cheap as possible.
Yep.
For the parents.
Yes.
I said I want us to eat a lot of the costs. They were fully on board with it. Over the years, I've kept a lot of the cost under $100.
Yep.
And now, with inflation, things like that, some of them they're having to pay a little. I think just for 2 of our events this coming up year, they're going to have to pay over $100 for.
Yeah.
CYC and exposure. But other than that, I'm trying to keep it, sub $100 to help them out, things along those lines.
And I think you let parents know that.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, and those of you that are at Coleman, sorry, Hunter's Better Youth Minister, my budget will not keep you under 100 for exposure. Sorry. No, but like, Uplift,
Hey, are you going to exposure this year?
We are. I told you I
Hey.
would, and
Yeah,
we're
he
in.
did. He
That's
promised
awesome.
us. We had proof.
And so if you go back and listen to the episode, I said I would do it. But we had what was Uplift this year, like 290, 280,
was
something like that.
300.
It was 300. Okay, so what I do is I try to make it where it's about 150 for them to go. I try to cut it in half.
Yeah.
But I make sure to tell people when I put it in the bulletin, I'm like, this is what this costs, but we're using budgeted funds to offset.
Yeah.
Because I want parents to understand, like, we're choosing to do this to help your family.
Yeah. We just did our big meeting, and that I went over all that stuff, and I was like, so we are covering 50% of your cost to go on this trip. And I said, that number one shows you that me and our elders are committing, saying this is
Yep.
important to us, and we want you to be there. But it's also saying that we are willing to help you and plan and help you understand that this is an important event for us to go to.
And I think that also helps the parents understand, like, hey, we're committing to this and paying half. I need you to commit to it as well.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's important before we go into what we're going to be talking about next.
Yeah.
I think it's important to when you're budgeting, think about things that you can make your your volunteers and the people that are going on your trips, make them know what they're doing better. So if that means getting them supplies, like what do I need to be doing with this? Having a meeting and budgeting in, lunch that day to have like volunteer training or anything like that. That's important to plan that.
For our area, we have a lot of youth minister lunches.
That's right.
You might want to budget that one in too. If you plan on having lunch with youth ministers, with other ministers, with kids, with whatever that might be, we have some lunches when it gets close to Maywood time. We have
That's
all these
something
things.
I underestimate, or like admissions to ball games. Going to watch kids play football or swim, track. Sorry.
I think this really ties into with Matthew 6:21, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also.
Yeah.
Where your youth group budget is, that's showing where the heart of the youth group is.
So I always do this thing at the end of my budgets. Whenever I submit my budget, I will say, this year we are proposing that we get this much money. $20,000. We'll just say, and I'll say we're proposing we want $20,000. Here's how we're going to use the money. This is what we're going to budget. This is how we're going to use it. This is what we're going to do. And then I go back and I look at our weekly budget for each week. And, then it's like 10,000 or whatever, and I take all of that and add it up, and then I divide it by the number that I'm given, which this year I was asking for 2.3%.
Million.
2.3%.
I thought you were saying 10,000 a week for your youth group budget. I was like, what are you doing?
That's a budget. They're going to Disney.
For the full church.
Disney.
The full church budget.
Yeah.
And so I would then take the full church, how much money the church got, 2 million or whatever it is, take that number and divide it by how much your youth budget is and say, hey, we're only using 2% of our church budget. What does that say about your commitment to our youth ministry if you're only willing to give 2%?
Yeah.
And if you're not willing to give 2%, do we even matter that much? And so you can use that, because that's what I do. I mean, last year, I asked for 2.3% of the year's total income. And it's important. That's not to say because my paycheck is a percentage of that, and they are investing in a youth minister, but using that as a tool to help you say, like, we're giving this much money from our budget into this.
Where is their heart?
So one of the things I've done in the past with our eldership, and this is a little bit guilt trippy, but it's okay, is I take the total budget. Let's say our budget's 20, 30,000, whatever it is, and I divide that out by how many students we actively have on our roster. And I say, so to be supported in this youth ministry, it's going to cost, $473 this year. Which of our kids isn't worth $473 this year?
Yeah. There we go. Pick them. Choose them.
Hey, we just had...
If we can cut the budget, just let me know which kid we're cutting.
I had two people. We always have our big end of the summer. I preach, and I always talk about the things that our kids have done or doing, and the events that we go to, and the adults that go. And after that was over with, I finished up, and I had two families that donated money to our youth ministry after that. And I think when when the church realizes exactly what you're doing and the way that you're using
and
the
your
funds
heart behind it,
and they see that you believe the things that you're talking about, and you know that you're making a difference, and they see that, they're going to be willing to open their wallets and give some money to it. And that was what happened this last year. We had two families that donated a large sum of money that we could have we really needed it, because we were drowning because of the uplift fees that I had not budgeted for, because we had 20 people go and I budgeted for 10.
Yeah.
Well, when the congregation sees a clear vision and a bright future, they're more than happy to help out with that. My first couple of years at Flint, I struggled with getting the elders on board for getting a church bus. And I remember telling Stephen Kelly this. Shout out to Stephen Kelly. Great, fantastic.
What a
minister.
legend.
What a guy.
What a legend.
But he told me a story of I don't remember what church he was at the time, but he had all of the kids in youth group stand up. He said this was after while he was preaching on a Sunday night, he had all the youth group kids stand up. He said, all right, I appreciate y'all for standing up. If y'all will sit down, he said, now I need 4 of you to stand up. And he already planned it out. So the 4 of the kids stood up. He said, "Congratulations, y'all are the 4 that get to go with me tonight to the area wide. The rest of you can't go because we don't have room." He said he had to church bus that next Sunday because everybody pitched in and gave money for it.
That's awesome.
Legend.
That was the coolest story.
All right,
so shout out, Steven.
Before we close out, we have some reflection questions while you're preparing your budget, because it is budget time. And if you haven't started, right now would be a good time to start today.
That's why we're doing these episodes right now.
That's why we're doing
pushing
it now.
you in that direction.
So, number 1, does your budget align with your ministry's mission? We all have a purpose that we're trying to accomplish, whether it's written down and communicated or whatever. We all have something that we're trying to accomplish. And does your budget line up with it? Right now would be a great time to look at your budget, look at the events that you're going, reassess everything. I've made some huge changes when I got here.
Yeah.
I made some huge changes from last year into this year, and considering all of that stuff while you're making your budget. So make sure to align your ministry's mission with your budget.
Okay, so number 2, if someone were to look at your budget, okay, and if they looked only at your budget, what would they assume that you value most, right? If they just
Disney
evaluate
World.
your budget, what would they assume that you see as priority in your ministry?
Disney World.
Well, at $10,000 a week, I think we can afford a Disney trip. Is that just for your family? The 10,000 weeks for your family?
Yeah,
to
that's
Disney?
just for my family.
Just for the
Each
family
week.
to go.
Yeah.
Take note, Coleman.
All right. Number 3, am I intentional or accidental with my numbers? Do I know where my numbers are going, or am I just throwing in the same budget from last year? Yeah. What does that look like? Are you as the youth minister, are you expecting your youth group to grow over this year?
So as you look at your budget, and you think about and prepare, look at a couple of areas in your budget and figure out, are there things that you're saying with your budget, with these numbers, with money, but you're saying something different in your ministry with your words. And so, it's going to be confusing to your parents, to your eldership, to your students, if what you're saying out of your mouth is different than what you're putting money towards in your budget.
Yeah. Like if you're going around and you're saying, we're going to do a lot of service projects, but you have no budget line for service
That's
projects, then the parents are going to say, so are we just footing the cost on everything?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand, so make sure that everything kind of lines up. Even go through and circle 2 to 3 things where you may need to change your budget line.
That's right.
And amounts that you're going to cover for the kids, supplies, materials that you're going to need. And also, always be learning. That's what I've always said. Always be learning. That's kind of my thing.
And we want to learn from you guys too. Like if there's something that you've had a great experience with budgeting that's been, something encouraging you, or you've had a terrible story where you just blew it on something, we want to know. Like, send it to us, let us know, email us. We would love to hear your input about budgeting experience.
There's two things that I'm known for. One of them is school year's resolutions. And the other one
You like to party.
Always be learning.
Always
be learning.
My bad.
That's the 2 things.
I thought it was you like to party.
Do we have Jeremy's budget outline on our website?
Yes, you can buy his budget on our website.
So Jeremy has this fantastic, super nerdy budget outline.
By the way, I may be buying that.
Fantastic.
I may actually buy that because I got a new computer and I lost a bunch of files. And so I may buy that from the website to get it back.
That's awesome.
Because I'm about to redo mine.
Hey, I can just send it to you.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
I mean, if you want to buy it, I don't care.
You know what? No, buy it.
I'm not above the system.
Well, I want to go ahead and plug one of our, I guess we can call them sponsors. Are they our sponsors?
Yes.
I don't think Lucas
I
would disagree.
I think so.
Because I heard that they were giving us free admission to the conference and a free vendor booth table. Is that right?
I've already bought both, so
I don't know about the free admission into
Yeah.
the play, but I do know that they did give us a free vendor booth last year.
Hey, are you staying with me this year?
I don't know the answer to that yet.
Well, if you don't bring Jessica, you can stay with me.
Hey, and the
Meow.
event that we're talking
Well,
about
there's
is
no king beds. The hotel conference only has rooms with 2 beds, and I'm like, I don't need a second bed.
we're talking about M2Y. We haven't mentioned
sorry.
that. The Ministry of Youth Conference. the M2Y Conference that is
they don't want us as a sponsor.
November 6th through the 9th. It's in Gatlinburg this
We're
year.
back in Gatlinburg.
It's going to be great. I spent the weekend with the president of M2Y.
Wow.
And it was incredible. And we talked a lot about it.
What a guy, too.
He is so excited about the new hotel place that we're staying at. And we
Does he
kind of
have a
talked
good
through the
booth set up
numbers.
for us?
It's going to be incredible. It's going to be great. I'm so excited about it.
It's going to be great.
And also, if you're a youth minister and you are going to M2Y and you enjoy golf and or guns, on your way to Gatlinburg in Pigeon Forge, you can stop at the Golf and Gun store.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yet another sponsor.
Not yet, but coming soon.
But on a serious
As soon
note,
as they start listening to youth ministry podcasts at the Golf and Gun store.
Hey, Jeremy,
you
you
never know.
misspelled conference.
I didn't type that.
Oh, well.
Booyah.
Hunter, you
My
misspelled conference.
I was trying to be very quiet in my typing.
No,
if you are
and-
looking
and
for
no
more
one would have ever
information,
known.
yeah.
I know it. They know. They're
Now
going to
they
know.
know.
They're going to know.
All right, back to this. If you're looking for more information on M2Y, you can go to the M2Yconference.com.
Wait,
Make
how
sure
do
you
you say
spell
it
it
the way
correctly,
you spelled
though.
But
it?
you need to, I don't know what
Conference.
I did.
Conference.
Not conference, but conference.
Conference.
Yeah. Make sure that you spell it right or it's not going to take you to the right
We
website.
hate each other.
Well, it didn't squiggly line it for me.
It's quick
To love each other so much, we do hate each other sometimes too.
So, anyways, no, we just like to give each other a hard time. It's fun.
Why don't we
Razzing.
give them a taste of what's next week's episode?
We're going to talk a little bit more about budgets.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about like some categories that need to be in your budget, right? Things that you need to put in every youth ministry budget.
Yep.
And listen, youth ministers, you all know that one youth minister is not great with budgeting. Send them this episode and encourage them to listen to this series so they can be a little bit better at budgeting this year.
And if you don't know one,
It's you.
it's you, dude. Like, good thing you listened in today.
I know, like, our elders always have like a elders retreat thing.
Yeah.
That they go and they kind of plan out the whole year and budget and all that stuff, and that happens usually in October. And so I've got to have this done and everything turned in by October. So make sure you know your deadlines.
And I'll say this, you are more likely to get approved on your budget if it looks intentional, it looks like you've planned ahead, and if you send your budget to your eldership to evaluate before they ask for it, it goes a long way with them.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
And make sure to at the bottom of my budget, I always put Lads to Leaders. These funds will cover registration for up to 35 students. We may have more, but this will cover that. And then I'll have, hey, our summer high school retreat. Here's why we want this money for this. And so make sure you're laying that out for them so that that's better communicated. So in the meeting, they already know why you're wanting that much money and where.
Yep. And to close us out, just remember, budgets are never just about dollars. They're about discipleship.
Ooh.
We hope that your ministry is blessed.
Oh, he snuck it
Oh
in.
my goodness.
What an ending. Roll that beautiful beam footage.
Thanks for joining us today in the important conversation of youth ministry. Go and follow us on Instagram and check out oksyouthministry.com for more information about our upcoming episodes. We'll be dropping a new episode every Wednesday morning, and we look forward to talking with you again next week. And hey, it's okay to be the OKS youth minister around, but let's all strive to be just a little bit better.